Alright, finally, 10,000 hours of practicing that picking exercise that cool guy on the internet showed me. I should be able to alternate pick anything now. Let's play some of that Mr. Scary by Dawkins. What the hell? I can't do it. Ass! I thought if I practiced that exercise enough, I could pick anything. Maybe I just need to do it more. Alright there, 20,000 hours of practice. Now I bet I can play this dang Dawkins song. It's just you and me, George. How come I still sound like ass even though I've practiced?
Practice makes perfect, but if you think you're going to become an alternate picking genius by slaving away over that 4-note per string chromatic exercise that your stepdad showed you, you've got another thing coming. I'm Uncle Ben, and this is why you suck at guitar. Well, hey there kids, and welcome to a very special installment of This Is Why You Suck at Guitar. Here with your best buddy in all the world, Uncle Ben. I have a confession to make, loyal viewers. That poor fool that you saw in the intro that was struggling with playing Mr. Scary even though he'd practiced his picking exercises for thousands of hours was me. Yes, indeed, it's true. I practiced that stupid 4-note per string chromatic exercise for thousands of hours of my life that could have been better spent, making tacos or getting chicks or doing literally anything. And at the end of all of that time practicing that stuff, I found that there were certain things that I could do just fine, and then there were other things that still just absolutely ate my lunch whenever I tried to play them, and I didn't understand why. So because I care about you kids and I don't want you all repeating the same mistakes that I made in my younger days, today I'm going to show you guys why that typical 4-note chromatic routine that everybody recommends that you practice on isn't giving you everything you need to become an alternate picking beast like Francis Bubble Trousers. And I'm also going to show you guys the exercise that you should be practicing instead to work out all different aspects of your picking powers. First things first, let's talk a little bit about that damn chromatic exercise. So if you start looking up ways to increase your alternate picking speed and skill, you will inevitably run into the 4-note per string chromatic exercise that everybody on the internet recommends that you do. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 on every string, down, up, go to the next string. And honestly, if you're an absolute beginner, that's a pretty good exercise to practice because it gets you using all 4 of your fingers over here. You can do different fingering combinations and stuff. Gets you working on those essentials of down, up, alternate picking here in your right hand. Again, if you're a total novice, that's a great one to practice. But once you get those basic skills down, if you still stick with that same exercise as your only way to improve your alternate picking skills, then you're going to end up hitting some roadblocks along the way. Let me explain. Now here's what you got to understand, kids, is that alternate picking itself isn't really all that difficult. Just sitting on one string and going down, up isn't necessarily that difficult. Even a beginner can build up a reasonable amount of speed doing that. The tricky thing is moving alternate picking across the strings. What you got to get through your noggins is that we are products of what we practice. Whatever we practice, we get really excellent at. Whatever we don't practice, we continue to suck abysmally at, right? And whenever you practice this, down, up, change strings. Down, up, change strings. You're only getting half of the total picture of different string changing mechanics while alternate picking. Because if you think about it, all those string changes took place after upstrokes. Down, up, change. Down, up, and so on. So if that's all you ever practice, then guess what? You'll get really great at changing strings after upstrokes and still have a really hard time changing strings after downstrokes at high speeds. That's exactly what happened to me. That's why I could do this 4-note per string chromatic stuff blazing fast, but still really wrestle with playing riffs like that Mr. Scary, which if you're playing it, immediately there's a change from a downstroke on the D string to an upstroke on the low E right there. And that would just completely tear me up, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't play it until I realized, well, duh, it's because you never practice changing strings after downstrokes. I see tons and tons of players who practice this exclusively and still seem confused about why there's certain things that they can't alternate pick their way through. And that's kind of like going to the gym and doing nothing but bicep curls and wondering why your legs are still skinny. So my first big piece of advice I'm going to give you guys today is that if you're going to practice that exercise, just the 1, 2, 3, 4 alternate picking exercise, which admittedly I still do. That's just a great way to kind of get the gears turning and stuff whenever I'm picking up the guitar for the first time in the day. If you're gonna practice that, practice it two different ways. Practice it beginning with a downstroke and going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But also be sure to spend just as much time, an equal amount of time, practicing that same thing but beginning with an upstroke. That way you're going up, down, chain strings, up, down. Do that ascending and descending. Sometimes I see people just practice this stuff ascending only, and that is a huge mistake to make. Descending is a much different feel than ascending. So be sure to practice this both ways. Ascending and descending starting with a down, ascending and descending starting with an up. Or you could get two birds stoned at once and practice all the different string change mechanics in one exercise if you practice this. This is an ultimate all-in-one finger blaster exercise that I call the Punisher, and I've been showing this to my students for years now. I think I first picked this up from my buddy Joe, if I'm not mistaken, and as soon as he showed this to me, it became an instant part of my normal practice and warm-up routine. And I recommend that you guys check this one out too. It's not too hard to understand, but it is harder than Satan's dick to play, so check this out. So ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 based exercise. The entire thing to the left hand could be interpreted as 1, 2, 3, 4 the entire time. But here's how you're going to do it. Start off on your low E string and play 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, keep in mind we're using all alternate picking this entire time. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, what you're going to do is to put the 1 on the next string. Okay, so I'm going to play 1 on the A, and then keep the 2, the 3, and the 4 all on the E string. So far you've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, put the 1 and the 2 on the A string. 1, 2, retain the 3, 4 on the low E. Next, put the 1, 2, 3 on the A, the 4 on the low E, and then lastly end up with all 4 on the A string. So ultimately you've just played 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, what you're going to do is the exact same idea, but starting from the A string, working your way onto the D string, one note at a time. So again, starting from A, we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop the 1 onto the D string. Drop the 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just continue this going through all your other strings. Now after we reach that highest note there, the 4 on the high E string, we're going to play the same concept but descending. And again, we're just going to be dropping one note at a time onto that next dang string. Like this right here. So on the high E string, play 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, you're going to dump that 4 onto the B string. Keep 3, 2, 1 on high E. 4, 3 on the B. 4, 3, 2 on the B. And then lastly, all 4 notes on the B string. So again, that's 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. Practice this across all the other string sets. So now I'll start from B. Then from G. Then from D. Then from A. I recommend moving that up, a fret at a time. Practice that in all different areas of the neck as you go along. So the reason why this Punisher exercise is such a great total body workout that's going to get you massive picking gains is because it has you doing all of the potential string changing movements all in one exercise. You're going to be doing ascending down to up, you're going to be descending down to up, you're going to be doing the pile driver, you're going to be doing reverse cowgirl, all these things that are happening in one exercise. Now this is different from taking, like let's say this, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, which is just having you change strings after upstrokes. And even if you practice this, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, that features all string changes after downstrokes, you're still only doing one or the other. You're never constantly going in between those different modes of upstroke changes and downstroke changes. You're going to run into stuff in music all the time that isn't just upstroke changes or just downstroke changes. So it's good to have an exercise as you work on all of them. You can practice this on acoustic or electric. It doesn't really matter. It's going to improve your picking either way. And when you're playing on electric, you can play it clean tone or with some distortion. If you're doing distortion, I recommend just kind of a, medium to low, kind of crunchy gain tone. I always tell people just kind of think AC/DC, A lot of gain on there can kind of cover up little deficiencies in your playing. But at the same time, I'm not really a huge fan of playing clean because a lot of times little things can slip by your muting and you don't really notice it until you have some big nasty distortion telling you, hey, you just came off of those strings too hard. But, of course, if you're like a jazz player that only plays clean all the time anyway, then by all means, practice it clean. And of course, if you're extra studious, you can practice this with a metronome. I always recommend starting off at a pace that's easy to play, where you can be really relaxed and concentrate on making really clean, precise movements with the pick, and slowly increasing the BPM. Just go up by, maybe 2 BPM every several minutes. If you're not playing it clean and relaxed, do not advance. Peel it back, If you're playing this and you feel tense, then go slower. There's a speed where you can do it perfectly. Start there. So if you get that down and you start feeling pretty confident with it, but feel like you want to take it up to the next level, here's a variation you can put on that Punisher exercise that's harder than Chinese algebra. You know how we talked about how you're moving on to that next string one note at a time? How we're moving from the E to the A one note at a time? Well, try this instead. Instead of just dumping that first finger and second finger and stuff onto the A string, try dumping it onto the D string instead. So in other words, skip a string like this. So on the E, I'll play 1, 2, 3, 4. On the D, I'll play 1, then play 2, 3, 4 on the E. 1, 2 on the D, 1, 2, 3 on the D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the D. Continue that with A and G. D and B. G and E. Whew, that's tough. And then do the same thing descending. E and G. B and D. G A. D and E. That is a super hard one to do because not only are you doing all those different inside and outside string changes, but you're also having to hurdle over this string that's in the middle. If this is E, A, and D, and you're having to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you're having to learn to negotiate those string changes, while hopping over this dude in the middle and not hitting it. It's really, really tough, but if you want to improve your string skipping skills, that is a hell of a way to do it. So I guess in summary, what I'm trying to say here is that if you always want to pick like a stepdad, then do this down, up shit for all your days and enjoy doing that. But if you want to pick in a way that's going to make your real dad respect you again, I advise at least practicing that same exercise 2 different ways, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, as well as incorporating the Punisher, the all-in-one total body workout for your picking, into your practice routine every day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if there is a picking exercise that you guys love, be sure to let me know what it is in the comments section below. Like this video and subscribe. Hit the little bell dinger thing for notifications every time I put up a slick video, at least once a week for you guys. You all can follow me on Instagram at BenEllerGuitars or over on my new Facebook fan page or at facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. Thanks again for tuning in, and expect a whole lot more from This Is Why You Suck at Guitar this year. Now get off of this gall dang internet machine and go play some flippin' guitar. Less clicking, more picking.